We are the traces of ancient conversations between salt-stained escarpment and crumbling shore.
Traces is the result of how we might connect to the land and time and seasons and ultimately identity through technology. I'm Kirli Saunders. I'm a proud Gunai woman from East Gippsland in Victoria. I'm a multidisciplinary artist.
My name is Kamsani bin Salleh. I go by the artist name Kamsani. Balladong Noongar boy based in Perth with connections going all the way up to the Kimberley. My main practice is public art.
It was created in partnership with the dedicated Google Creative Lab team, Magabala Books and Sydney Opera House. It's a digital voice-to-art installation mimicking our ways of mark making and sand drawing. It illustrates yarns in real time, grounding us in the old and new, here and now, in ephemeral conversation.
My name's Reid. My cultural links are Bardi, Jawi people. It's great that Magabala is a partner in this because this is all part of the way you move forward. You know, you've got to be exploring, you've got to be experimenting, you've got to be testing the waters.
The incredible team over at Google created a response that picks up on the intonation and the volume and the pitch of a spoken word piece, and then creates this beautiful mark making in real time.
Each of the markings are created by me, and in order to get variation, I had to create quite a lot of different markings, and it's like a nice blend between science and magic. For me, it's always been making stuff for an Indigenous mob first. My auntie always told me, like, if you're doing it for mob first and they have an appreciation for it and it strengthens us, then it's something that is better for wider society.
If the old people were here today, they would be fascinated. They would trust that we're doing the right thing with country and culture.
We are the bridge between. A seam stitching always was with, will be, a bearer of sovereign stories of country, sky, and sea.
The power of the First Nations matriarchy. Warrior women reckoning with the colony. I was born from the world's most ancient womb, the sacred womb of a First Nations woman. The blood pumping through my veins is the life force of a long line of First Nations warrior women whose spirits run deep into this ancient soil. It is a privilege to be raised in a culture that understands the power of First Nations matriarchs, a kinship that values the role of women as equal to men and all other things. A matriarchy whose power comes from an enduring love for blackfellas, and one that is not afraid to speak truth to power and punch up to the white patriarchy. There is no force equal to the First Nations matriarchy. First Nations matriarchs are healers, storytellers, keepers of our kids, and truth seekers. Our First Nations matriarchs matter. They have left a remarkable legacy on the trajectory of our nation. Their status is not only defined by the struggle that comes with speaking truth to power, it is also shaped by their capacity to call for peace when the rest of the world reacts without reason. They spoke out when it wasn't hip to be black, a time when it wasn't popular to call out the injustices against First Nations people. Through this, it is our moral obligation to remember the formidable First Nations matriarchs who stood on the right side of history, who not only embodied Black love and Black joy at any cost, but also harnessed that energy and belief in Blackfellas as a political force that is so pivotal to movements today. First Nations matriarchs may not be written in history books taught at schools. They may not be remembered in statues erected in their honour. But they are all warrior women reckoning with this colony. We have an obligation to remember the First Nations matriarchy and the special place they hold for us as they offer a way of living that is not about upholding the white patriarchy. Let's be clear. The First Nations matriarchy prospered long before the Western world violently invaded Indigenous lands and waters. And it continues to endure the test of time. The existence of First Nations matriarchs on this ancient, sovereign soil is the resistance that threatens the legitimacy of the white patriarchy. The real reckoning with the colony will come when we value and centre the power of the First Nations matriarchy. First Nations women have significantly impacted the trajectory of our nation's narrative, and the voices and actions of these warrior women are not only the backbone of First Nations communities, but they are also powering the front line of movements for change. We owe so much to the First Nations women who not only continue to speak truth to power, but punch up to the white patriarchy.
Wiringa inarakalka Wiringa Kunijar Mother Creator Inara, Inara Wiringa Inaragalga Wiringa Gunijar Mother Creator Inara, Inara Mimi, we want you near. Mimi, we need you here. Both sides the river bed, lightness and darkness of watershed. Mimi, 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 Mimi. Himi birangulu with me ganan pili too. Warangong ali wiringa calling Mimi to Bara. Mimi, 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 Mimi. Mimi, 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 winning Mimi, 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 dying Mimi, 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 winning Mimi, 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 Mimi.
We are the traces of ancient conversations between salt-stained escarpment and crumbling shore. The way of the waves, the snaking patterns of sand dancing with west wind and deepest ocean floor. The trenches formed for cookie-cutter sharks and bioluminescent jellies. We are the estuary, imagined upstream in a crooked river, a brook, a creek, rhythmically wrapping limbs around this nourishing sky thing, land-bound, only for a time like us all. We are the echoes of 24-karat gold enfolded inland sea, fossilized creator spirits' feet, shells, and megalodon teeth. The rusted dust that clings to symbolic rock and stoic tree. The bird flower, in glimmering green and her explosive seeds popping fertile futures in the dry. We are the first rain, the drought-stricken plain, the old-growth forests who resolutely remain, and mountains, towering and showering, offering shade. We are all the valleys made, in the places where mountains meet their kin, and the wisdom held within starched alpine peaks who see everything. We are the gums and golden orb spiders weaving nets for insects amid corridors of bark, the bats awakening with the song of the dark, the harlequin birds who pigment horizons already sun-dipped and gleaming. We are the whales, barramundi and platypi, the echidna, shark and crocodile, the smile of a silver slither grandmother moon singing kangaroo, koala and emu to restful sleep. We are the wattle, the banksia and waratah, the bottle brush and the paper bark, myrtle, orchid and grevillea, solar-powered and vibrant with the hum of bees, insistent in persisting through climate grief. We are the constellations high in the night, the guiding star shaping paths, the heart of the seventh sister, blistered and aching for change. We are the bridge between, a seam stitching always was with will be, a bearer of sovereign stories of country, sky, and sea.